much for attending the Public Facilities, Arts, and Culture meeting. Today is Tuesday, December 6th, and I do detect a quorum. We've got a couple of items on the agenda today. First, we'll start with RS 2022-1827. Withers, Roden, and Hurt approves a term sheet describing the terms and conditions of the agreements and transactions required to finance, construct, and operate a new enclosed multi-purpose stadium on the East Bank, subject to the subsequent approval of final agreements and authorizing the Metropolitan government to pursue other matters related thereto. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. It's been properly moved and seconded. We have a couple of amendments. Were these two amendments approved already in this committee?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Okay, so I know my amendment, first is, of course, is talking about making sure that the contracts in the resolution promote to the fullest extent that's allowable by law the utilization of minority and women-owned businesses, enterprises in this development project. As we know, we don't have enough participation, and I wanted to make sure that we did utilize what we already have in place and anything above and beyond is what my amendment is.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Any questions in regards to the amendment? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Chair, I apologize. It's just now 5 o'clock. Can you just share with me? I missed the first part about what your amendment was.
Oh, the first amendment is, the first resolution is RS 2022-1827. This is regarding the term sheet for the East Bank. Okay, and then the amendment that we just discussed is the one that I did submit in making sure that utilization of minority and women-owned businesses.
Okay, so it's
Considering that
Amendment 1.
Yes.
I just wanted to clarify before I voted.
Okay.
Thank you.
And are you in favor?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Hagan?
Yes.
Do we need to get you a chair?
I'm good, I'll stand up.
Good to see you.
I've been sitting for a while.
Thank you. So 9 in favor, 0 against. So Councilman Mendez has also, I know he's not here, so I'm getting some advice from the,
You can either not address it or someone from the committee could move it.
Move.
it's been properly moved. Is there a second? Properly moved and seconded, the amendment by Councilman Mendez. Basically, do you want to explain what it is you want me to read it?
I can explain it, I believe. It basically states that, so the term sheet itself refers to itself as a non-binding term sheet. And so Councilman Mendez has proposed an amendment to bring that term non-binding into the resolution itself to identify the term sheet as non-binding. And then also it would make the ultimate decision on this resolution by the council as a non-binding decision as well.
Okay.
Chair, was this approved by other committees?
It has been approved by other committees, has it not?
I don't think that this has been approved by other committees. It has been discussed in other committees. I think that this is a resolution that I believe the intent was to defer it at tonight's meeting so that it would be taken up on the 20th in conjunction with the other pending legislation, which is the hotel occupancy tax legislation.
Okay, well, I think that's probably the best option. Would somebody offer a defer?
Move defer.
Is there a second? Thank you. It's been properly moved and seconded. Any questions, comments?
I was just gonna say, if you want to have a recommendation on Mendez's amendment, that's fine too, but I do plan to defer the legislation and have all amendments taken up at one time on the 20th. But if y'all want to go ahead and
Right.
have a recommendation on Councilmember Mendez's amendment, that's fine too.
Well, I do know that it was talked about in Budget and Finance, and then if we defer tonight, then that would mean that all of the legislations will be moved together, which does make sense. Councilman Young.
I mean, I guess I don't understand the harm in us, one, having a recommendation on the Mendez amendment, and two, having a recommendation of this item as a whole, knowing that it's going to be deferred anyhow to track with the other things. But I might be getting out ahead of everyone else on that.
I mean, we can entertain it for a while. We do have some other, I think, agenda items that's gonna have some discussion that we might wanna move forward with.
Chair, just a point of order.
Yes.
I watched Budget and Finance yesterday, but I think I missed a little bit. So I understand there was not a recommendation particular to this amendment in Budget and Finance yesterday, and was Councilman Mendez supportive of that, or just?
Yes, he was supportive. He did not move the resolution. I don't believe the other resolution was moved either, and then it was deferred one meeting
Right,
at that committee.
right. Did you have some, Councilman Syracuse?
I would move to defer as amended with Amendment 1, one meeting.
Second.
Okay, so now we got one motion on the floor to defer Amendment 2. Correct? Do we need to move on that first?
It was really a motion to defer the whole resolution as amended with your amendment, just not taking up Amendment 2 yet.
You have a motion pending to approve Amendment 2. I don't recall if it was second.
Right, since it's already on the floor, do we need to take action on that?
You can take action to defer it
Or-
also, or you could take action to recommend.
Withdraw the
make a recommendation.
amendment and then take the one that Councilman Syracuse has. So the pleasure is with the committee. So are you going to withdraw? Okay.
I'll withdraw my second.
So we withdrawing the other amendment, and we're now going to accept the amendment to move forward with the approval of Amendment 1 and the resolution itself. Correct? Is there a second?
Okay. So also recommending approval of the resolution rather than deferring that because we want it to track. So is this committee going to get ahead of? I apologize.
That's okay. We have applied Amendment 1,
Yes,
so I move to defer the resolution as amended, just with Amendment 1,
thank you.
one meeting. Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
Right.
I support that. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you. So it's been properly moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. For one meeting. Okay, thank you. So the second, bills on second reading, bills 2022-1529, Withers, Roden, and Hurd, amends Chapter 512 of the Metropolitan Code by increasing the hotel occupancy privilege tax in the amount of 1% and directing the proceeds to be used for the construction of and future capital improvements to a new enclosed stadium and debt service related thereto. Is there a motion?
Second.
Thank you. It's been an amendment proposed by Councilmember Withers. Do you want to give us,
Move the amendment.
Second?
Thank you. I'll defer to the
Okay.
administration to explain that.
This amendment also adds the phrase non-binding when it, in the recital, when it refers to the term sheet. And it also changes the effective date such that it is not effective until after approval of the final binding documents for the construction of the stadium are approved.
okay. So the proposed amendment has been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been probably moved and seconded. Any questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There being none, the amendment approves. Now we're gonna go ahead and approve the bill itself. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. It's been properly moved and seconded. Any questions, comments? All in favor?
I have a question or a comment.
Yes.
I apologize. So Councilman Withers, I know, we've talked and Chair Mendez has spoken some about, getting these kind of in alignment and what goes first and when. And I don't know if the, administration could articulate why they want this or advocates for it to move ahead at this juncture rather than tracking with the term sheet.
This is on second reading, and so all
So
of them would be
slowing that
finalized
one
together.
down, that's gonna get them in
Yeah.
alignment with each other.
And then one, I think, additional detail that was Councilmember Mendez asked yesterday is this amendable on third, and it is. So.
Okay, okay.
So we do still have a little bit of time if there are any additional amendments, but this would have them all tracked for the
Great.
12:20 meeting.
I appreciate the clarification, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Mark me as abstention.
Okay. Thank you. Bill 2022-1533, Rosenberg, Roden, Withers, and Pulley accepts an easement on certain property located at 1734 Charlotte Pike, owned by Lowe's Home Centers LLC.
Motion.
It's been properly moved. Is there a second? Thank you. It's a proposed amendment by Councilmember Rosenberg.
I will say in transportation infrastructure, we did not take up the Rosenberg, but we did take up and approve the Druffel amendment.
Okay. The amendment by Councilmember Rosenberg says that the ordinance shall take effect upon the date as determined by the Director of Metropolitan Homeless Impact Division, that all occupants of 7002 Charlotte Pike have been provided with permanent or semi-permanent housing in accordance with Metro Nashville's coordinated entry process. Ms. Cameron, do you have anything you want to add, or you want to give any type of explanation?
I'll give a brief explanation of, there is a outdoor homelessness encampment strategy that we're utilizing to help house all of the participants that live in the Brookmead location. I think approving this fence will definitely help with securing the property and the location on the other side of housing.
Okay. So I guess I'm not sure what the amendment that Councilmember Rosenberg, I'm trying to understand.
Go ahead. I checked with him earlier, but I don't see him here, so I'm not sure.
Do you want me to go get Councilman Rosenberg, or?
And I did check with him relative to our late filed amendment, so I don't know if you want me to speak briefly on that.
Yes, I didn't know if we needed
I
to
don't
move
wanna-
forward with one action with amendment by Councilmember Rosenberg, and then have you come in?
Yeah,
and
that's
speak?
why I was, just want to let you know.
Okay. So I guess he's basically saying they want to make sure that everybody's housed, period.
Well, and I guess the wording for us is provided housing opportunities and options, which is a little bit different than,
Them actually being housed. Yes. Councilmember Rose, yes,
Well,
Councilmember.
they don't get everybody out. What happens then? You don't get the easement or what?
That's the direct impact.
That's I think, the
Yes,
impetus
the
of
Second Amendment.
us doing this, because you have to have a cutoff, like Councilman Rosenberg. Okay.
Well, we have a motion on the floor for your amendment, and we just needed some clarification so we could move forward with the position.
I should probably consider both of them since one of them's a late file. So yes, the proposed amendment, my amendment says that can only do this once we're sure that everybody there has been offered multiple housing options. I wish I'd put the word permanent in there, but I didn't. And as determined by HID.
Okay.
And so keyword then being offered, right?
Right.
Like they're being afforded the opportunity.
The
Yeah,
opportunity.
absolutely.
I'm just saying, what if they don't leave? What if they stay there? Does that mean that it doesn't go through or what?
I would say for myself, for a homeless impact division, I don't think that we would have a problem with very many not wanting this opportunity. When we went through to pass out the information, they were asking, why is it taking so long? How soon is this gonna happen? There was only one that wanted to come to you all to see if he could buy the land. So, I think that, I don't think that we would have a problem with that.
Yeah, we could sell the land. I don't have a
Councilwoman Syracuse?
Madam Chair, thank you. Perhaps the best procedurally way to go about this is if these two amendments are, I won't say competing, but if there is if it's to do one or the other, perhaps we do have the sponsor of the late amendment describe it so we can determine which one we are going to recommend to apply.
Okay.
And whether they're compatible as well.
Yeah, and our intention is very similar to what Rosenberg is doing, is housing first is absolutely the key, is we're not trying to not provide options, but the terminology is a little different, in that we're providing options, because if we're just saying, we're cutting, we're just gonna give you housing, doesn't mean that they're gonna leave, right? We gotta set a time and a place for them to do, and we said, we are going to look at December 6th, and at that point, they'll have the housing options, they'll have one of two housing options, right, April? Yeah, confirm that. And so that's really an important part of that, because you gotta do a cutoff at some point. Now, they've been in the encampment for some time, really working on it. So, this is part of the strategy that they've developed, the gap housing strategy that they worked on for, I was there for 7 meetings, and they've been working on it for 2 months. So foundationally, this is what we worked really hard to do. Vice Mayor Schulman was there, and myself. And I have to say, everybody in all those meetings, all the nonprofits, there's 3 or 4 unhoused that were there, they were all in violent agreement that this strategy was the right strategy. So I felt really comfortable when this brought forward that we were in the right light. So foundationally, where we're going in this direction is the right place to do. This late file amendment simply changes the language just a little bit more to define it more. And I checked with Councilman Rosenberg, and I think he's okay with this. So, so the late is just adds a little bit more language.
Okay, and so there's one other issue that I have, because I know several people in the encampments would probably need some substance abuse and mental health attention. So is there something to ensure that they are going to receive those?
Great question. A lot of the people that actually live in the park are already connected to those services. So as we're assessing and staffing, we're just making sure that they're reaching out and connecting with those mental health case managers. As far as substance,
But they're not gonna do it. You have to
Well,
ensure that they will do it, because you can have them connected to care, but unless you actually get them there, they will decide to do something
absolutely,
else.
2 parts. That's why the interim gap housing is so instrumental, because there's boots on the ground, hands-on support that walk them through, drive them to, deliver them to the services that they are in need of. And then also, there is the Housing First Support Services and Case Management RFP that was released today that will also be attached to services. And then yesterday, I noticed that there was a bill 1889 where mental health co-op is connecting with metro departments for these services as well. So we're reaching out to medically assisted clinics and or other recovery options for those that choose to take that option and opportunity, just so that we have that as a resource for them as well. So some may go to interim gap housing, some may go into recovery housing, some may go into medically assisted, but that has to be a choice. A lot of those places will not take you if you're delivered there and you say, I don't want that service. So
And is there a timeline associated?
yes, we look to have everyone housed before Christmas. The deadline is January 4th, I believe.
Or in some type of facility for the care that they...
I don't want to say placing them in a facility if they choose.
And that's the
Yeah.
language, Chair, is the options. They will be
will have
provided 2 options, is that correct? So everyone will be provided, and those options include a lot of supportive services. A lot of these nonprofits, like you said, have been involved in this whole solution, and where they live now and how they're living is they need a lot of support. So
Yes,
So
Councilman.
your amendment just cleans up.
cleans up
Rosenberg.
language to some degree,
Okay,
and
that's what I mean
hopefully
by-
Councilman Rosenberg feels comfortable with this language. That's just,
I don't feel comfortable with any of this at all, but yes, I don't know. It's it's
He
not
generally
particularly
doesn't feel
problematic.
comfortable.
The entire
So there's
strategy directed at Brookmead right now. Can I just say
Yes,
something?
Councilman Roseman.
What are the two housing options that you were mentioning, Councilman?
April,
There's interim gap housing, there is shared housing options, and then there's also permanent housing options. There's Section 8, there's a lot of options. When we say two, we're saying each individual will have two. We've identified up to 108 units of housing for the 30 to 35 individuals that live there.
How many of those are permanent?
It's fantastic.
I don't have the numbers to the back of my head, but I would say maybe 60-ish or so. I don't want this to be on record because I don't have the number in my head right now, but just looked at it yesterday.
But it sounds like if I
430
had
something.
this understand correctly,
Yes.
that the alternative options are pretty solid right now, where they're given something that's really very, strong in their ability to do something, and they're given supportive services along with that. And if you go into that encampment, there's a huge.
Which is
Well,
extraordinary
yeah,
work.
I actually did go into the encampment, and I'm with Councilmember Hager. So what happens if they refuse all of those things? Is there anything in place if they refuse the options that have been?
I will say we will continue to work with them. We will continue to work with them. Very little will they say that they choose. Once we get 5 to 10 housed, then you'll see the difference in their, their will. Once you start providing hope and opportunity, you'll see a difference in them and their will to want to find housing. So a lot of it is fear, and majority of it is lack of hope. So when agencies and service providers instill that hope and safety, I don't foresee that we will have a plethora of them that will not.
But
And
we
there's-
don't have any option for those who.
Well, of course, there's several other options. There's other shelters, there's a lot of other options that may not include our permanent housing piece.
And I guess what I don't want to see is them setting up somewhere else, because I know that there's another place in Bellevue that they have been congregating, and just want to make sure that they just don't move from one place to the next.
If they don't move, my understanding is if you got a cutoff date, you're just gonna lock the gate and put the fence up or not?
Well, I would say we'll need the fence to be approved in order for that to happen, definitely. And MNPD and Metro Parks are a part of this heavy conversation weekly. So Metro MNPD, they know the participants' name. There's an Officer Cantrell that knows their name first, last, and they trust and know and love him. A lot of times they know him more than they would know me walking through
And
the park.
Sergeant Cantrell's incredible, he's a Westminster precinct.
And
He's
how
very
many are left out there?
There's an average of about 35 to 40. It's a little bit fluid. Some may go into a hotel if they have income or SSI at the beginning of the month and then come back at the end of the month.
Well, okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
I just wanted to say again, it's extraordinary work, and thank you on the behalf of Grateful City.
Right, I agree, you have worked tirelessly on this, and we appreciate
And
it.
from a distance and being part of that from a distance, these guys have really killed themselves. When you look at the detail, Kathy Jennings and everybody that's been involved in this, they really worked hard at solving the best they can.
Thank you all.
Okay. All in favor, I guess we're gonna take both the amendments together. All in favor?
No, I guess I was gonna ask point of order. I think we're choosing one amendment over the other, Chair.
No,
Right.
Okay, so I guess I'm confused. I thought we were saying that you couldn't have two without passing one.
I guess I would just ask staff if that in fact.
I believe the
accurate.
Rosenberg amendment has been seconded and is the thing that's being discussed. So
Okay.
Right.
And then we were
if we
discussing the
approve it,
Druffel
then we
amendment
can
relative to.
also add the one on top of it.
Yeah, I think the motion on the table right now is the
Right.
Rosenberg amendment.
Yes,
You would vote on that one first.
okay, and then just go to the second.
And I think Councilmember Rosenberg made a good statement when he came in that one is late filed, so you might want to have a recommendation on both.
Okay. So, now that we have the questions on Rosenberg's, what's your pleasure? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Is that on Amendment 1?
Yes.
Yes,
Abstain.
okay. Okay, and now, the proposed late amendment, so do we need to,
I'll second that.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we accept the late filed amendment. Now, do we want to, is all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Now that we've approved to have the late amendment, all in favor of the late amendment that has been described by Councilmember Druffel?
I think that's what we just voted on, Chair.
Yeah, I thought you.
I guess I'm completely confused. I thought we just voted on Rosenberg, then we voted to entertain the late filed amendment. We didn't have to move to approve to accept
I
the
think,
amendment?
Chair, if I may, if you can tell me if I'm correct, the committee has approved both amendments, and we now need to move the
Bill
bill
itself.
as,
The bill is amended.
Okay, so we did not have to get approval to bring it to the table. Okay,
Okay, because of late file conditions, is
Right.
that what you're saying, Chair?
because of late file conditions.
Okay.
No, we did not.
I-
Okay,
You don't need to make a determination
Yeah,
on the
not in
late file
committee.
nature of the bill, of
Okay.
the amendment, sorry.
all right.
oh, I see, okay.
I have to go to rules.
So we've already approved it. Do we
need
now
one more
need to,
vote.
so now we need to approve the bill, right?
Correct.
Okay. My goodness. Now we're gonna approve, take a posture on the bill itself. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
And is that-
Any abstention?